Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education, a podcast that focuses on what is happening in education today, connecting everyone to the movers and shakers that are breaking boundaries in the education arena.
Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education. Jerry, we connect with people in all different ways, one of which is through LinkedIn, but I feel like AI has become a really important connector lately. I know one of our guests through an AI summit that we both volunteered to help run, that AI for Education was running, and we jumped right in to help do that. And that's where I met her and learned about all of her fabulous expertise. And we have another guest today who she has connected with through AI literacy. And I can't wait to hear about what they are both involved in. It's super exciting.
And it's breaking boundaries, right? Breaking boundaries in education. Yes, finding each other. And I think they're on different sides of the United States even. And so I love that. I love that collaboration. And so, Ronil and Meghan, we welcome you to the LinkedUp podcast. And we are glad to have you here today.
Thank you. And it's great to see Jamie again and meet you as well, Jerry.
You bet. Meghan, you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself so we know who we're talking to today?
Sure. So I'm the Curriculum and Assessment Specialist at the Center for American Language and Culture at Temple University, which is an intensive English language program. So we support international students who are matriculating into Temple, helping them with their communication skills and academic readiness. And about a year ago, I developed AI literacy courses specifically to support the unique needs of international students.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Ronald, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So hi, my name is Ronil. I'm currently a 12th grade student in San Jose, California. And I've been really into technology, and I've seen how AI is helping me and my classmates. So that led me to building Studysnap, which I created a couple of years ago, and I'm still running it. And yeah, I'm just excited to see the potential of AI in the ed tech industry.
And did I hear you right? You are a senior in high school?
Yes, I'm a senior in high school.
Oh my gosh. That's is
incredible.
Amazing. Yes.
Incredible.
How did you and Meghan meet?
So we met at the a roundtable collective called the Global Student AI Ambassador Roundtable, hosted by AI Connective. Ronald reached out to me, but I can let Ronald tell you a little bit more about that group.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was invited to speak at some AI Connective Roundtable, which were a lot of students across the globe, and basically a couple of people, like some teachers, set it up to basically create a roundtable where a lot of students could talk about how AI is impacting them and what was next in the future and how they see education changing from now to in the future.
Mhm.
So it was a very exciting topic to talk about. And that's how I met Meghan. And afterwards, after the connective ended, I emailed her on LinkedIn and I asked her if she would be willing to give me some feedback on my app. And that was when we got on a meeting, and she told me about how she's helping people in Temple University learn English. So I thought that would be a great way for me to expand my app and show how it would help her students study.
So does your app help them learn English?
So my app is designed to help students study productively using AI. So in other words, it helps people memorize content faster by creating interactive flashcards and quizzes. So it's a great way to memorize a lot of vocabulary. And it's also multilingual, so it can understand different languages. So I thought our flashcard tool would be a great way to help people improve their vocabulary in English. And also our quizzes can help them improve their comprehension of any textbooks or articles they're reading, etc. Yeah.
What prompted you to make this app? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, so I think this was in the beginning of my 10th grade year, around the time when ChatGPT came out and there was all this hype about AI. And as a student myself, I've seen a lot of flaws in the traditional education system. And I've seen how me and my classmates both struggle to find ways to study effectively because not everyone can get good grades and not everyone does. Some people have trouble like learning content than others. And I saw AI as a way to help students understand content in simpler words or in simpler context. Because I know that a lot of teachers and a lot of like admins characterize AI as a cheating tool. But as a student myself, I've seen how AI is actually helping me learn instead of just cheating on like an assignment. And I just saw a lot of potential in that. And I've coded many apps before, and I just wanted to build around that tool because I was very interested in AI. And also as a student, I'm very interested in seeing how education is headed in the next like 50 years in the future. So I just wanted to build something around that. I played with a couple of prototypes. I was able to get some feedback from my classmates. And from there, I realized that, oh, this app actually has some potential in helping people learn.
It's so
You
amazing.
are pretty amazing.
So amazing. Meghan, what in terms of what you teach and who your students are, how does Ronald's solution connect with you? And also you teach AI literacy. So how does that all tie in? How do you see it helping?
Sure. So I've actually taught 2 different iterations of the AI literacy course. The most recent one was entitled AI Essentials for Communication Success. So while it was focused on specifically helping a cohort of students develop their English language skills, it was just general communication facilitation that it was really focused on. So the way that I had initially approached the design of the course was to have each week focus on a different modality of language, so reading, speaking. And so when Ronald and I connected and he talked a little bit about his app, even though Jerry, you had asked about this, if it was specifically for language learning, the fact that it was for reading, I thought, well, let me see how that might work with the students for when they're trying to focus on different tools that might help them with their reading skills. And so when we tried it out, I thought, well, this was great. So not only can I maybe give feedback to Ronald, but let's bring in Ronald directly as a guest. And then the students can have a dialogue with him specifically about the app. And this is just something I've tried to incorporate into the design of these courses, is really having an open dialogue with EdTech tool designers and creators, because I think it's mutually beneficial in the way that students can feel like they have a voice and advocate for themselves and talk about their needs and see if the tool can support that. And it's also great for creators of the app because they can also then get that feedback about accessibility. And I've had this play out with a couple other experts that I brought in as well. And I think it's just a great space to create that. And Ronald was amazing. I can't praise him enough, but he was fantastic because even though the app's not specifically for language learners, I told him a little bit, I gave him some context and about the students and their needs, and he was able to adapt the demo. Also his presentation style as well. He even gave them a little bit of vocabulary related specifically to AI. So it was just fantastic to have him as a guest and try out the app. We did an activity together. So he got feedback that way. It was an amazing experience.
That's great. Are your students still using the app?
They are. And Ronald, I actually haven't had a chance to talk to you about this as a follow-up. So a little bit more about our students. It was actually a mixed cohort of students, who, international students who are attending Temple for some of their first year courses, but also a cohort of in-service English teachers from Brazil, which I thought was also great to have them there and try out the app, not just for themselves, but to see if they could use that in Brazil for their own students. And as a final project, the students were able to choose any of the tools that we had reviewed or any of the AI models to incorporate into a kind of language learning plan. And a few of them chose Studysnap as well to help with their reading skills. So that was a part of their final project.
That
That's so
must make you
great.
feel good, Ronald,
Yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah,
that's
that
using
sounds
your app.
great. Yeah,
You
that's
bet.
awesome.
Great. So great.
Yes.
Well, I want to ask about your experience in high school. So I know that you've mentioned that when AI came out, there was a lot of buzz around, using it for cheating. You have obviously found a great way to leverage it in other ways. So, how do you see it working now? How do you see AI as a learning tool for personalized learning in the future? What do you see?
Yeah, so I think my vision and Studysnap's vision is that AI is gonna break the barrier in education, because I know that a lot of people don't have equal opportunity to great education. So I feel that AI is gonna make sure that every single person, every single student around the globe is going to have access to their own personalized AI tutor, and their AI tutor is gonna basically know a lot about them. It's gonna know that what they're good at, what they're weak at, and it's gonna assist them, and it's gonna engage them, and it's gonna just gonna it's basically kind of like a teacher, but a 24/7 teacher that knows a lot about them. So for example, one of the beta features that we have is the ability to engage a lesson towards your interests. So I know that a lot, as a student myself, I've seen that in school a lot of people kind of just question themselves, and they're like, oh, what's the point of learning this topic? Like in history, what's the point of learning in what happened in the past if we're only focused in the present and the future, right? Like, why do I have to memorize what happened in the 1920s, or what happened in this war, right? So I feel that relating a topic to someone's interest, like for example, relating how velocity is affected in soccer, right? Like if someone likes soccer and you explain how velocity is in soccer, I feel that will engage students in a more motivated way, and it'll motivate them to study and learn more about the topic. And I feel that the school system isn't really providing a lot of real world application right now. So I think that's one great tool about AI, giving examples on how this can be used in the real world. Also, school, I mean, if people take AP classes and honor classes, a lot of the lessons are very complicated. So AI, since it's kind of like a PhD level professor now, it can basically give you any complex topic and condense it into very, very simpler topics. It can also create visuals and images, and people study better when looking at a visual rather than just reading a ton of text. So I think the multimodal aspect of it is also going to be a great opportunity, and it has great potential there also.
Ronald, you're a
Yeah.
natural teacher, I have to
Yeah.
say. And you're talking about pedagogy, learning styles, all of these things, and you're still in high school. You have really amazed me today.
Thank you.
I'm
Yes.
really, really fantastic. Now, Megan, what about in higher ed? I mean, because there's a lot of controversy. So, how do you see it being used best now? Is there still a lot of fear around it? And how do you see it being used in higher ed in the future?
I think it's very divisive and kind of almost polarizing sometimes. And it's hard for students. It's almost like the onus is put on students navigating that as well. So even if there's an AI policy in place, for example, the one at Temple is fairly flexible. It sort of kind of puts it in the hand of the individual educator. So, but that does put it on the onus of the students to have to advocate and ask and find out what's permitted. And that was partially what informed the foundation of the AI literacy courses that I created for our students, because we saw that a lot of the international students that I support were I shouldn't say a lot, but some of them were using AI, and they weren't being transparent about it. But I didn't want it to be punitive, because I suspected that they were largely using it because high stakes assignments. They were already struggling with it. It's compounded by English not being their first language. So I understood why they were possibly using AI. So I thought, well, let's create a course that shows them how to use it ethically, talk about academic integrity, how to be transparent. So the first iteration of the course really focused on academic integrity and how to leverage AI for research and as a brainstorming partner, like what Ronald was talking about, how to use it as a tutor in a lot of ways, ethically. And so the next iteration was also how to use it for your language skills. And so felt like having that safe space for students to explore it in a hands-on way was extremely beneficial for the students. So I think that's really important to create those spaces instead of just expecting students to understand it by reading a syllabus, what those expectations are
Sure.
surrounding AI.
Sure.
Yes. And it's refreshing to hear that you had the empathy for the students to understand why they were using it and not to be punitive. I love hearing that. That's great.
How do you both feel that you can get over the hurdle of maybe AI literacy for teachers? Because, Megan, you've done this for yourself, but then there are others who may have a fear because they don't understand it, because they're afraid of the cheating, because they haven't used it to be efficient for themselves, which I know, that's how I really got into it. And I know Jerry too. But how do you both feel about, what are good ways to help teachers overcome this so that they can see how it can make the space for the learning that Ronald was talking about? I just was actually participated in a fireside chat where I talked exactly about this and how, AI can make the space because it can be a personalized tutor, and it can provide that quick feedback for teachers so that they can figure out where they can further build relationships with students, where they can do one-on-one conferencing with students and do small group instruction and build in problem-based learning. And it will be the space for that. But teachers need to learn about it first. So what do you think? How can they do that?
I mean, it can be really daunting for teachers just because they're overwhelmed by it. And
Yeah.
it was kind of echoed by one of the, we refer to them as participants, referring to the in-service English teachers who were in my most recent AI literacy course. But she said that when she first took the AI literacy course, she almost shut down immediately because she just heard tech, she just associated AI with tech. And she said, I'm not good with AI, with technology. This course is, I thought this course was going to be boring, but because I made it really interactive and kind of just small steps. And I think if you can just take something that you as a teacher are looking for support with in your own context,
Yeah.
what do you need with lesson plan? Just explore the tech for yourself
Right.
to support whatever needs you have as a teacher. And then kind of think about what areas might help. I think like diversify learning and help with accommodating different needs of students. And that's what I saw. What resonated with me was how can I support the different needs of students in terms of whether they're being more like visual, what they needed extra help with. So that was really eye-opening for me as I started that exploration, but still led initially what I needed as a teacher, how AI could help me. And then once I gained that familiarity with the different tools out there, then I started thinking about the different courses that I was designing and how AI could support there.
So
Yes.
Jerry
That's
got
great. And
interested in AI from building her outfits for ensembles. And I got interested in AI from learning about gardening. So that was how we just kind of had that eye-opening opportunity to be like, wow, we can use this for so much more. Ronald, how have you been able to help your teachers in high school? Have you been able to push the needle a little bit?
Yeah, so I currently attend a public high school, and I've talked to some teachers and I've gotten advice and I've gotten feedback from some teachers. I was able to pitch my app in front of my class last year in my history class. Some teachers are like, they don't really like AI. They think that it's a tool that just like uses, that just like students use to teach. But a lot of the teachers in my school actually think that AI is a great way to help students research. But yeah, I tried to partner with my school, but since they're a public school, they won't allow it right now. So that's why I'm like marketing it to a couple other schools outside of my area. But yeah, I've seen a lot of teachers say that overall AI is a great way for like researching. It's like the best way to find an answer really quickly,
Yeah.
instead of like just like going through like 50 different websites.
Right. Yes.
Jamie, I was just going to also add, I think a community is really important as well. We started launching a couple of professional development workshop opportunities for our teachers. And I think just knowing that there's a community, and we also brought in two individuals from another intensive English language program at another university who'd been doing a lot of research and practice into AI and adapting it to second language acquisition and helping with English language learning. And I think it helped coming from their peers and seeing what they were doing specifically and having that support system in place was really helpful. So really being a part of a community is important.
Right.
I think that's
Teachers
so good,
love
Megan.
to hear from other teachers.
Yeah.
Yes. And when you're a student and you can work with other students, it's empowering and inspiring to you to build that community as well. Yes. Ronald, what is on the horizon for you your senior year? Are you going to build another app? Are you going to try to market this one? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm continuing on developing like more features for my app, just finding ways to make it unique. Because now a lot of people know that there's a really big area of growth in the edtech sector, and there's a lot of competition. I would say a lot of like other companies are doing similar stuff that I'm doing, such as like the ability to create flashcards, quizzes based on a student's own content, the ability to like summarize based on like PDFs of just textbooks. So I'm just looking into like ways to make the app more unique, but I'm also marketing the app. I'm just emailing a bunch of schools, teachers, edtech leaders on just gaining more valuable insight on their like based on their experience. And a couple like I think like a couple of weeks ago, I just announced on my LinkedIn that we piloted our app to Teach for India, which is one of India's biggest educational nonprofits. And I like to think like of AI as a way, like as I mentioned before, as a way to make sure that every single student around the globe, no matter of their like family's income level, they can have access to like great education. So I believe that AI, like the ability to have a free 24/7 personal tutor, is going to be very beneficial in the future.
Oh, I love the what is driving you is the equity and making it for everyone. That it's so honorable.
It is.
That's really great that you're doing that.
That was also something that really resonated and that really came through communicating with Ronald initially about that was the equity. And that's certainly what I've been leading with in terms of the AI literacy courses, making sure that students feel empowered and they're able to sort of advocate for their own learning journey.
I mean, that's exactly how the two of you got connected because of that driving force. So I think that's so wonderful. I think what the two of you are doing in different ways is so important to help move education forward. And right now, there are so many opportunities. The view looks fantastic, but there are some instances where we're getting in our own way. And I love how the two of you are moving forward so gracefully and, helping others one student at a time.
And Ronald mentioned that he wants to find new ways to make his app, to add on to it and add more value to it. Megan, will your students continue to offer that feedback? Because I see that as a way for Ronald to get some really great insights.
Yeah, I think it would be great to, continue with that. That's something, Ronald and I can collaborate further because I intend to have, continue with the AI literacy series. We've almost seen it more like different variations. There are different needs, but kind of being able to bring in more experts and creators, as I said, like Ronald, and so that way there's that direct link for feedback and opportunities. So I think that would be great. That was actually something that came out of our conversation when Ronald presented. Some of the students were asking him, like, can you offer this in Brazil? So it was offered, suggestions for Ronald to expand into other areas. So I think that's also great for his app. And then also just questions like, about features that could be added too.
Yes. Yeah. Finding the needs and how you can help them meet those needs. That's great.
And continuing to
Absolutely.
build that community, Megan, that you mentioned is so important. I love it. Very good.
Yes.
Well, thank you both so much for joining. I mean, there's so many opportunities here, and I just think it's so terrific what you both are doing. Thank you for sharing.
Well, thanks, Jamie.
Yes. Thank you
Thank you
so
for having
much.
me.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for listening. And if you would like to stay linked up, be sure to follow us on Apple and Spotify, and subscribe to us on YouTube.